thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
If you enjoy the Massenomics podcast, another awesome way to help support it is by supporting our sponsors. They help make every one of these episodes possible. Like SwissLink. In 1995, Maurice Big Mo Huffman founded SwissLink with the mission to bring authentic Swiss Army goods to the United States and into the hands of those yearning for quality gear at uncompromised prices. Over the years, that mission expanded to nations across Europe and beyond. Now, for nearly 3 decades, Big Mo has been traveling far and wide in search of the best items for military forces around the world. Big Mo doesn't only find authentic military clothing for SwissLink, he brings in everything you can imagine, from Swiss bayonets to Czech microscopes. SwissLink.com is also home of the SwissLink Classic Wool Blankets. Ooh. They're an ideal mix of 80% wool and 20% recycled fibers. It's that special blend that provides a soft, luxurious feel while maintaining all the benefits of wool. And as we know, it's getting close to winter time here in western northeast South Dakota, so we need something to get cozy with. Wish you could wear them year-round? Well, maybe now you can. New to the lineup is SwissLink's classic wool pants. That's right, wool pants. SwissLink's exceptional collection and dedication to quality customer service distinguishes them from the competition. Here's the best part. Enjoy a 15% discount on your next purchase at SwissLink.com by entering the code MASS at checkout. That's Swiss like Switzerland, link, LINK.com. Thank you, SwissLink. This episode is also brought to you by our friends over at Juggernaut AI. It is the smartest programming for you. Juggernaut AI is like having the best powerlifting coach right there in the palm of your hand, right in your pocket, during every training session, helping you reach your true potential. Juggernaut AI is the training that both Tommy and I use for many months now, probably be able to start saying we've used it for years now. We've been able to see progress on that. We have many gym members, Massenomics gym members using it. We have many supporting members of the podcast, the Massenomics podcast, that use Juggernaut AI. We've heard a lot of good feedback, a lot of different parts of that training that people like. Some of what I like, you do have all that training history right in the palm of your hand, but for me, it's probably the phasic training structure that it provides, where you're going from bridge blocks through hypertrophy, through strength blocks, and then leading you up through peaking, whether you want to do a powerlifting meet or maybe you just want to test your 1-rep maxes, you get to that peaking phase. And the best part of Juggernaut AI, discount code Massenomics, it'll save you 10% for the lifetime of that membership. So when you're at the web browser, go to juggernautai.app on your browser, use discount code Massenomics, save you 10%. Thank you, Juggernaut AI. Welcome, everyone, for a very special episode of the Massenomics podcast. We traveled to the far reaches of... Is Michigan in the Midwest? Are we in the Midwest right now?
Technically, yes.
You think so?
I know for a fact it's in the Midwest.
Okay.
But my Jared Feather and I have had a great many debates as to why the hell Michigan is in the Midwest.
And?
He seems to disagree with that.
What does he think it is?
He thinks it's in the north because he's from Missouri. But admittedly, according to him, the Missourians are not known as a hyper-intelligent mega race with flying cars or anything like that.
That seemed more like a Civil War era geographic distinction. Now, we're in the north, you're in the south.
You Yankees. But yeah, technically it's the Midwest.
Okay, we're kind of on, we consider ourselves Midwest in South Dakota, so we're on more the eastern reaches of the Midwest. We traveled into your secret lair. We made it through the levels of all the various levels of butlers.
All the fighting butlers.
Yes, some of them jump out of Lamborghinis at speed with nunchucks.
It's like an army of James Bond, just
James Bond villain butlers that you have.
They're doing a great job.
Yeah.
And they let you, I told the guys before, Massenomics guys are coming. Give them the show. Don't hurt anybody. Let them pass. So you guys got the easy levels.
And we are excited to get here and talk to you. We've got a number of things we're going to talk to you about. First one being, we actually recorded a little video prior to this. Had you test out the chicken bacon, the cheese pizza. So I'd make sure everyone checks that out. You don't want to miss the chicken baked cheese pizza.
We get Mike's scientific breakdown of the Costco food court.
Yeah. It's the Costco food court I would describe as like an American institution. It's like McDonald's. You see the Golden Arches? You know America and the reach of thermonuclear war isn't far away. That's how I like to think of Costco.
Yeah, I think that's how most people think of it, actually.
Good.
Okay. We have a whole bunch of stuff we want to talk to you about today, and we're going to try and not make this a 5-hour podcast. So I'm just going to jump right into some hard-hitting questions right off the bat, if you're all right with that.
Yes.
A big debate we've been having lately on the Massenomics podcast with several of our more recent guests, a debate, a question, a common thread we have with everyone is, if a lifter walks into your gym, you've never seen this lifter before, you have no prior knowledge of their lifting ability whatsoever. Your goal is to be able to best gauge their overall strength by watching them perform one lift, one exercise only. You only get to watch them do this one lift. And you want to best gauge their overall strength, whatever you consider that to be. What lift would you have them do in order for you to take your best guess?
It's a good question. That's a really good question.
We've had a lot of different answers from some, we talked about that with Dave yesterday. There's been a really, really broad way that people analyze that and think about the way that they would interpret it.
The Continental Clean and Press.
Wow, that's, I think, the first time we've gotten that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I'm a sports scientist.
So your reasoning.
Do you know what that is?
So
you guys
a continental clean is where there's a extra step of the process where it's you
rack it on the belly.
Right, you rack it
Zuna
on the belly.
Sisas
Right.
Now, all I need to say to justify my opinion is that the person who I believe still owns the record for that lift with the axle at the Arnold is Zuna Sisas. I think he got like 9 reps with 366 pounds or something insane in the Continental Clean and Press. And because Zuna Sisas is the definition of several things, a grown man, Superman, and strength, period, I am interested in a debate about it with no one because it's just truth. And so if you say, how do you assess general strength? What you're actually asking by the transitive property is, how do you assess someone's proximity to Zuna Sisas in ability? And thus, we leverage it according to his essentially best lift ever. And it's his best lift ever because he has beaten everyone at everything in strongman at one time or another. But at several Arnolds, and I'm sure you guys have seen all these, there were several times where he just left the entire pack behind by like a factor of 2. Like the next best guy got like 4 reps and he got 9. I remember being at one of the Arnolds live and everyone in the crowd, it was like 90 seconds and he got like 9 reps and everyone was just like, what the fuck is going on? And a lot of guys like had to do the mixed grip, load, switch. Some guys were too athletic to have guts, which is nonsense. And he just did it like in such a smooth. I remember one time, I think for a few of the reps, the first few reps, he loaded it onto his gut. And then the next push, he just muscle snatched it. And you're just like, but that is a Coke can sized barbell with 300 and some odd pounds on it, 366 or whatever. It's just pure nonsense.
Right.
That, motherfucker, if you can do that shit, you're strong. And if you're like, yeah, but I'm not flexible, I don't give a fuck. Get out of my face. Like, I'm not flexible enough to do that lift anymore because of bodybuilding. I'm not that strong. Not in the real world. That's sure as shit. Like, it's just, that's it. That's the lift. And from an actual answer sports science perspective, that lift will involve a huge fraction of your muscle mass. And the continental part, I'm just cutting a little slack on because some people
Less
it's a less technical
Yeah,
version.
right.
You're testing less speed, less technique. Because some weightlifters will be able to clean and press more than everyone, but they're not actually like as strong as you would expect. Someone that can clean and strict press a lot, you know they're benching a fuckload. You know they're bent rowing a fuckload. There's just no way to get around that lift with leverage, because if you have short arms, the press is easy, but the pull is hard. If you have long arms, the pull is easy, but the press is hard as fuck. So there's just no way out of it. Because like some guys who said deadlift? I'm sure somebody said deadlift.
That's probably
a lot
been-
of people want to say deadlift.
Yep.
We agree.
Because like some skinny motherfucker pulling
Thank
600,
you.
get out of my face.
Exactly
Hey, what do you
what you
bench? Like, I broke 135 last
That's-
week. Like kilos? They're like, no, pounds.
That's the reason to both of us why deadlift is not
categorically.
answer.
It's actually one of the wrongest answers because your deadlift involves the most trickery of all the lifts.
That's what
We've
said
gone
to you.
into depths
It's
of
yes,
analyzing that exact
It's the
same
easiest
thing.
one to manipulate in your favor, depending on
Absolutely.
your body type, your different leverages.
Oh,
There's
body
a-
type, I think, is such a
Huge.
yeah. I just
Congratulations, you have long arms.
Yeah.
And a short torso. Slow fucking clap.
one
Not everyone who deadlifts a lot is Ed Cohen. But anyway, sorry to cut you off.
Well, one of the answers that's come up that I've started to kind of like to, people like the idea of maybe like a high handled, like I liked, someone said high handled farmer's carry. I kind of start to get behind that. They say high handle, so it like maybe removes some of the, it's a lesser technique. Like we talked about there, there's like judging maybe some grip strength, but I don't know, grip strength is a weird thing too. But then people say high handled trap bar deadlift. That's one that's come up a decent bit too.
So I'll say like that is a good answer.
Yeah.
My retort to that is the limiting factor is so much grip strength that it's
Too
like,
much
okay,
grip
you have
strength.
like some arm wrestler could probably do super well at it.
You're
and he's
right.
like not that strong and all the, because like your legs exist and that lift barely tests your legs at all. There's, you guys are, of course, historians of strength. Yanni Virtanen,
Yeah.
2000 world's strongest man, year 2000.
Yeah.
Of course, he's the world's strongest man. No one can ever take that away. But the events were very favorable to him. He's a tall guy, very lanky, very strong. It's just like Finnish people are just nonsense strong for no discernible reason, literally, because you're like, but you're not that jacked. Where is it coming from? But if you put him on a flat press, if you put him in a deep squat, he's actually not that strong.
Right.
And he was just insanely athletic, insanely coordinated, and could deadlift. And he had these super long arms. He could do stone loading. He could do the carry. He would do amazing at that kind of thing. But overall total body strength is a little bit different than even winning world's strongest man.
True.
But if you think about like, what does it take to do a continental clean and press? You can just start checking things off like weak back, you're out. Weak legs, you're out. Weak pushing ability, you're out. That's the 3 parts of your body generally already. And grip, especially if you do it with an axle, holy fuck. There's just no way to get around that.
Right.
So that's my best answer, I think.
Well, regardless if it's the right answer or not, which you might have the right answer. You have given the most detailed explanation for
Also,
how you got
I
there.
It's like I
really
went to
liked
school
your
for it.
I liked your analysis of the deadlift, which
Yes.
agreed with ours, so I particularly like
Yeah,
it.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
yeah,
Anyone who
it's-
agrees with us, we
Yeah.
tend to
We'll-
like.
we will now air this episode.
Someone's like strict curl, you're like cut the fucking camera. That's it, we're out of here.
Oh, we've got a special treat for you here, Mike. This is actually for the gym. You can utilize it later here, but this is Massenomics specific.
I've seen this at the Arnold before.
Yeah.
And this is a thing that is called the drink spotter.
Yeah, he's not reading that off. He just knew that by heart.
I did.
Yeah.
I've been a longtime fan of the drink spotter. And so describe to
made
the
of aluminum too. If you aluminum
Is that good?
Aircraft grade aluminum.
Oh,
Yeah,
see that
yeah.
hits different because
Yeah.
aluminum sounds cheap.
Yeah, but not if
Right,
it's aircraft
Yeah,
grade.
it's
you
like,
know,
if you just say aluminum, it's like, oh, the wrong side of the tracks people with the houses that
right.
look like, you know, what is that like?
It's a trailer home.
trailer
NASA
home.
could have
Yeah.
literally used
Yeah,
this
this
to
goes
send to space.
in the
That's the
air.
grade of it.
It
Yeah.
can handle the air.
And then I don't know if you're thirsty at all. We often have a beverage, so you don't have to partake, but just in case.
We know you're dieting as well, so we have a variety of options here.
Whoa, what is this, beer?
No, it is not. A lot of times we do have beer, but a lot of times we just have sparkling waters because people think we drink a lot of beer, but sometimes we just also like to not drink beer. So there is some sparkling water choices here
We
if
go
you're
from
interested in
unflavored to flavored with 10 to 20 calories, I believe, in there.
Why is it called Liquid Death?
Murder your thirst.
Holy shit.
It's pretty hardcore.
You guys associated with this brand? I assume you are in some
not-
capacity?
Not really. We just we do a variety of brands. It's just so much. Just today we no. The answer is no. We're not associated with them. We do a whole bunch of different brands of sparkling waters. We're just sparkling water aficionados.
May I?
Yeah, whatever.
Is there a particular flavor?
I'm
that-
just going to read the back
Yeah.
here. Carbonated mountain water. That's interesting. Agave nectar. Natural passion fruit flavor. Natural mixed berry flavor. Citric acid. Natural hibiscus flavor.
a lot of natural stuff.
You know
in
it's
there.
natty.
Am I natty now?
Also, we're so not affiliated. You could rip it apart, and we
Yes.
wouldn't be offended by this. So you could be like, "Oh, this sounds so stupid," and we're like, "Oh, okay, maybe it's stupid."
Natural flavor. Uh-oh. That's not good.
Was there a typo?
Maybe.
Okay.
Citric acid, natural hibiscus flavor, natural black cherry flavor. So there's something called
something
just
missing
natural flavor.
You'd assume, but based on the other items in the list, there's a middle word missing in that one. Yeah.
But maybe it's like MSG. It's like the thing that tastes good. MSG could just be described as flavor.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a drink equivalent of it. So it's caffeine free. It has nominal calories. I actually 100% can drink this.
Okay.
And that sounds really awesome.
And that one's that one. The flavor. There's that. I believe. What's that flavor?
This is Bury It Alive.
This is severed lime,
Holy shit.
mango, chainsaw, and water. This one's water flavored, I think.
I actually love sparkling water. And I get shit from my friends of like, why? And I don't know. It's just, I don't drink alcohol. But I like it when in the movies people drink alcohol.
Yes.
And they put down the drink and they're like, it hits. The little bubbles, they burn a little bit. And to me, it's like a pretend alcohol. When you guys were kids, did you pretend to smoke cigarettes?
Oh,
and stuff?
yeah.
This is my
Everyone did.
adult
Yes.
equivalent.
I absolutely agree with that. Tommy, are you after one?
I think I'll go lime today.
I'm just going to.
You know what?
Like,
What I'm going to do, I'm going to put my protein shaker of decaf coffee with Splenda.
Okay.
Because I'm a man of culture. And is it okay if I keep this one and
Yeah.
a few
Absolutely.
later?
Yes, absolutely.
Yep, you do your thing.
Yes, later this weekend I'll be high on drugs and I will drink some of these and it'll be
So
amazing.
it'll be like, oh, the bubbles hit different now.
This is great. Is it available at the store? or
Yeah, that's
just
where we just got on the way over here. You know, had to
Really?
make sure we stay refreshed while we're
Where?
recording. Gas station.
Fuck out of here. That's awesome. I've never seen this shit.
Yeah.
They're kind of taking the drink world by storm at the moment.
I love it.
Do you have a brand of sparkling water that you do like to have, or do you just not give it whatever's in the fridge? Or
Yeah, so that's a funny question. My dad, so I'm from Russia, and so is my family, obviously, and we drink a Georgian, not Georgia the state, not woo, but whatever sound they make in Georgia.
Right, yeah.
The country, they have an excellent water called Barjome.
Does it have natural flavors in it?
It's all natural, and it comes from like some kind of fucking like natural spring or some shit like that. It also has like quite a bit of mineral in it, so it tastes a little salty. It's like a real man's sparkling water.
So how do you get it? Like if we wanted to
Go
get it
to Georgia?
that's the way to. Okay.
You go to your, if you live in a major metropolitan area in the United States, you don't. On your, I don't know. There should be oftentimes there's like a European store where they'll sell like Polish shit, Russian shit.
Okay.
You'll get the water.
And the name again?
How would you pronounce it? Barjome.
Okay.
Barjome.
We will be, because we are connoisseurs and we like to.
Yes. Send me a
Broaden
DM
our-
and I'll
Okay,
forward you
yes,
some shit.
okay.
And there's a couple of other. There's one from like Slovakia that's also really good.
Okay.
And by really good, I mean it'll throw you off. You're
Right.
like, whoa, what the
Like
fuck
this is
is
different.
this? Yeah.
Okay.
Get that one on the list.
What should we hit Mike with the food question, the list, the ranking of the?
Yes. So we've already talked about food a fair amount on this show, and we had a very important food question for you, and we wanted to know if you could rank these 3 phallic-shaped foods for us.
What is the metric on which I'm ranking?
That's up to you to decide.
Excellent. I love it.
You're the.
We're just giving them. You can
Subjective
provide
metric?
the additional context here. And these 3 items will be hot dogs, bananas, and we had a little debate on the third one, Tanner. What do we want the third one to be?
I guess I was leaning towards cucumber.
Okay, we'll
but,
say hot dogs, bananas, and cucumbers. Rank those 3
Wow.
phallic-shaped foods.
Okay, so actually, that is a really interesting assortment of foods because I have a fun story about each one of them.
We picked the right 3.
Yes, and ironically, per our last conversation, they're stories related to Russia. Russia's doing so well in the media now with them losing the war and all. Time to uplift the Russian peoples, and by that I mean further degrade them. So, the first one, hot dog. I used to love hot dogs in Russia. We did not have hot dog buns. Hot dogs were just foods you boiled in a pot of boiling water.
Okay.
And then you sometimes would cut them up and eat them with potatoes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you would fry them with cabbage and eat them like that. Yes, Russian food is awful. And so I got to eating communist hot dogs, And then our first day in America in 1991, I was exposed to the American hot dog. And my first opinion about it was that it was much softer to chew than the Russian version.
Even softer than a boiled hot dog.
Yes.
Okay.
And remember, this is communist food, so it's
Right.
barely edible.
Right.
And it was actually tasted, it was thicker, girthier, shorter, kind of like me, though I'm also not girthy.
Hashtag short
Where
kings.
it counts. Yes, yes. And it was spicier. It actually tasted spicy because Russian food, at least at the time, was totally bereft of anything as spicy. My grandma tried her first piece of pizza in the United States and couldn't eat it because it was too spicy.
Too much.
This was just regular pizza from Domino's.
So she might have been one of those people where ketchup was too spicy.
Oh, absolutely.
That's interesting.
Oh.
Yes, yes. And then, so that's my hot dog story. I'll rank it in a second. Banana story is also in communist Russia. Bananas were only available seasonally and in very short supply. And so you would buy as many of them as possible as you could afford.
At the local Walmart for 79 cents a pound.
Yes, LOL. At the local government food dispensary for bribe the guy amount. And we would get a ton of green bananas, like green, not ripe remotely. And we would put them all over the apartment. People in Russia typically did not own homes at the time. Ownership was considered a crime because private property was a crime. Typical
Obvious
communist
stuff.
things.
Yeah.
And so the bananas, we would have like dozens of them like under our beds and stuff like that. And we would let them ripen for days and sometimes longer. And then we would eat them. And compared to the regular Russian fare, bananas tasted like ecstasy in a banana shape, which I guess there are a few things that are ecstatic in a banana shape. Isn't that right, fellas?
Yes. So people are used to vine ripened tomatoes. You had bed ripened bananas.
Correct. Yes. It doesn't really roll off the tongue, does
Not
it?
quite. But
Yeah.
there might be something there.
Yes. And I remember bananas being absolutely one of my favorite foods when I was in Russia. And then when we came to America, we realized that even though we had almost no money, bananas were functionally free.
Yeah.
And I must have eaten several dozen bananas in the first week and developed a long-term aversion to bananas. So I can eat a banana if I need the macros or something. Like I'm at a gas station, I have a protein shake, I'm going hypo and I need carbs, and they run out of pretzels or something. I fucking get some bananas. I will put them in my mouth sensually, of course.
Of course. Without saying.
There is a way to eat a banana. There's the proper way. And then I'll just be like, I'll deal with it. But I used to love them, and I don't anymore because I've essentially overdosed on bananas. And then cucumbers, when we first moved to America, I went to summer day camp, Jewish summer day camp, where I was also not the best athlete, if you can imagine. That's a low bar, folks. And my mom had to pack me a lunch. Except in Russia, you didn't pack lunches, and lunch wasn't a meal that we ate. So she didn't really know what to pack. So I think she gave me like a hard-boiled egg, maybe a piece of bread, another thing, and then a cucumber. And I remember eating the cucumber and crying because I missed my mommy because I loved her so much. So all Russia-related stories, I would say that cucumbers are rank 1 because they are crisp. If you bite into a cucumber and it's soft, you can watch me throw
That
one
is
of these,
gross.
like,
That is
out
bad.
it goes.
Yes.
Yeah. But a crisp, cold cucumber, when I get the cucumber around my face, I like to just kind of
Tap it.
like they do in the adult films. A little play never hurt anybody. And
The anticipation.
oh my
of the
god!
cucumber
And then
builds.
the crunch is the definition of ASMR, and so that's rank 1. I'd have to say, oh man, this is tough. Bananas are rank 2 because like there's so many great foods that are made with bananas, and especially when you're craving something sugary but healthy, like a banana is sweet as fuck and it'll knock you out. And there's an ASMR thing too to the feel of peeling one, and it so perfectly comes like proof of God right there. Evolution didn't make that. God did it, God damn it, because it comes out so perfectly out of the wrapper. And then
The proper way to peel it is by the short nubby end.
that's how I do it.
Okay.
Is it?
I just
I
you
bite
guys-
off the short nubby end, and then I go.
you get a much better peel off. Not you don't bend off the
the long.
no you
style, yeah.
the monkeys do it with
They
off
do.
the
They
short
take the
end.
short end.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I will say I do have some reservations, but I've heard the monkeys do it off that end before.
I'm actually have no
factual knowledge
Yes,
of monkeys do that other than people say that.
Let's just assume it's true.
Okay.
People have told me that because when they see me bite into a banana and then peel it, they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And inevitably, someone in the group is like, "Oh no, it's all right. Dr. Mike's actually head of the pack. Monkeys do it." You're like, "All right, hold on, pause."
That's what makes you
Really?
Yeah.
Monkeys also eat their own shit and rape and kill everything they see when they feel like it. So that is not exactly a validation.
No, it's
just
natural.
maybe-
It's natural.
But it,
natural.
it kind of feels like maybe in the field of bananas,
Monkeys have some expertise.
Yeah, it's like their one field
Yes.
of expertise.
Let's find out what they're good at with bananas. They're good at eating them, and that's it. So they're not even experts at that. They're not horticulturalists. Monkeys know approximately nothing.
Growing and harvesting them.
No, they're not like exquisitely
ripening them under their beds.
Yeah, they have like some kind of wine tasting sommelier feel for no. This banana, this is clearly from Western Venezuela. And you're like, how did it know? There's none of that. And then the hot dog. Gee, the hot dog. You know, I used to assume there were gradations of hot dog that made some hot dogs not terrible, but it's kind of like if you were going to eat a piece of, I'm allowed to swear and say things. Yeah. If you were going to eat some kind of shit out of your own fucking toilet, do you prefer one over the other? It's a moot point.
Right.
Hot dogs suck. And if you have some beef with me on that, good, because beef is what hot dogs do not contain, because they contain, there was a Simpsons episode where they showed it was in a hot dog, and it was like all the animals mixed together, and then like someone fell into the combine and got mixed right in. Shoe.
Yeah.
So hot dogs suck, and the macros are just awful. And I used to like, someone was like, I was at like I suppose like a party. It's not a party for little kids when I was like 12. And I was like, yeah, a hot dog. And they were like, no, they're kosher hot dogs. And I was like, well, I'm a fucking Jew.
Yeah.
Kosher food typically tastes awful. So I was like, already, like, this is bad. Yeah. But like, no. And they were huge. They were way bigger and redder and fuller looking. These were the high quality hot dogs that like my parents couldn't afford
Jewish
to buy.
National or something? Isn't there?
Some Hebrew National.
Hebrew National, yes, I knew
that was
it.
the very
Yeah,
brand.
that's what it
And
was,
no
yeah.
offense, Hebrew National. I just don't like hot dogs. But I was like expecting like, well, this is going to change my mind.
Right.
And then I bit into it, and then I was like, it's even saltier than a regular hot dog and entirely as usual bereft of any flavor. And I was upset. And of course, I finished the hot dog because you finish your food, but I was like, never again. And it's been a long time since I've eaten a fucking hot dog. And I will say another thing while we're on the subject. Like you could say something compares to something else and only be right in technicality, but not in the feel of the thing. Like your own go-kart is technically a mode of transportation, just like a Lamborghini, but that's really kind of where the comparisons end. The Lamborghini of hot dog shaped foods that are meat based is the cheddar brat. Now the cheddar brat is again proof of the undeniable existence of God. Because how can you make something so fucking perfect? It's like if someone told you like, hey, yeah, I've driven a car before. It's not that fun. You put them in a Lambo. They're like, what the fuck? I've been lied to.
Yeah.
There are cars like this. If someone's like, oh, I don't really like hot dogs or brats or anything, try a cheddar brat, dummy. And you give them one and you stand back and watch the magic happen. And they first bite into it, the cheese oozes, and they're like, oh God, and they don't know who they are. They don't know their own name anymore. They don't know where they belong in the world. All they know is ecstasy, and it exists at the very end of this penis-like object. The cheddar brat knows no defeat.
The thing you have to be careful with the cheddar brats is when you're cooking them on the grill, and that first little piece of cheese starts to escape. It's like pouring gasoline on the
It
grill.
really is. It starts the fire, and it fucking melts the whole brat.
That's how you know the magic is happening, though.
Yes, somehow there's like a way to cut into it to see how much bubbliness, and they're like, oh, it's done. Do you guys grill at all?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not, some
There's
people
definitely guys
grill.
that's part of their identity.
And that's not me.
For me, it's just a way to cook
I use my grill to make my food. That's
I think a part of the reason why I went so heavy into getting jacked and like combat sport and stuff like that is so that I could not need to overcompensate with manliness in any other way because I am a man in no other way except maybe those two.
That's
right.
Yeah,
and so like I just refuse to partake in the bullshittery that occurs around a grill with other guys because it's one of these things, man. There's like two types of bullshit that you'll see with guys when guys just layer in just nonsense. One is watching MMA. Like everyone has an opinion. Shut the fuck up.
Every guy that wrestled in middle school is now this grappling
And listen,
expert.
like that's a high level expert to me. There's guys, most guys have never been in a fight in their entire lives or any combat sport. They'll gladly tell you why Conor should just get up against Khabib, even though no one can get up when Khabib is holding him down. No worries. The same thing occurs at the grill, where guys will gather and everyone has their interesting idea about how to figure out if the steak is done. Hot dogs, hamburgers, brats. Like, you got to cut into it, man. Nah, that's not done yet. And all the guys hold their beers like, yep. And I'm just standing there like, they're like, Mike, I'm like, I don't fucking know. Do I look like a fucking cooking expert? If there's no microwave around, I don't know how it works. And you know what, fellas? Real talk, I don't know how a microwave works either. I just know it does. And that's all I have to know.
I think most of us don't know how a microwave
no idea. You push the button. The buttons make
creates
the energy go
into the food, and it creates happiness.
It does.
It's funny. I think if a lot of people had a chance to talk with you for a couple hours, you're well respected in the fields of training and nutrition. You know, you're kind of you have an expert mind, and people enjoy hearing you talk about it. And we like to ask you about penis-shaped foods, and
That's how we take advantage of our time.
The opposite of expertise.
I did have one question that's semi in the realm of like a real question.
Do we do those all the time on YouTube anyway?
Well, this
Semi
is
in the
just, yeah. So you talk about range of motion a lot and about form and technique and the way you do. You know, there's different technique to do different lifts. And what I wondered is, take a lift for example. We'll say like a row, a barbell row, or some version of a row. Does your reason for lifting, you know, what you're training for, does it affect what is optimal technique on a lift like that, or is the optimal technique on a lift like that always the optimal technique? And I say different reasons for training. Maybe one person is a competitive bodybuilder. Maybe the other person is a competitive powerlifter.
Yeah. In the row specifically, or just lifts in general?
I'm kind of thinking in general, but the row is just one that comes to my mind that maybe there's differences. You know.
Pardon me.
It's the coffee.
Yes. The answer is generally yes. So, for example, just an easier example is one with less nuance. The squat. And if you squat for powerlifting, it's actually a different exercise. It's the low bar squat. And if you high bar squat because you're too big to grab the bar, too inflexible, it's still a very different squat. You sit much more back than you sit down. You cut your depth at just below parallel. There's definitely absolutely different techniques for the same lift. Bench press, huge one. You bench for hypertrophy. Looks a little bit different than if you bench press for just benching a lot. So there are definitely ways of doing that. What I would say is something like a bent row, which is not a competitive movement. It's technically either an assistance movement,
right,
or whatever bodybuilder is just a movement, assistance, accessory, etc. What I like to have people who bring up this point seriously in a discussion have them do is walk along the logic tree of why are we doing this? Because people say it's an accessory. Like, yes. Why do we do accessories? Now, there are many different answers to that question. One of them is like, well, I want to get a more muscular back. Well, then you really train it kind of like a bodybuilder would for hypertrophy. If there are other reasons you're doing the bent row, I would like to hear about them, and then maybe technique modification is in order. But I feel like sometimes guys will do lifts, especially accessory work in strength sports, and they just file it as accessory work, and they kind of forget why they're doing it. And like they'll do tricep pushdowns, and they'll use a shitload of weight with shitty technique and shitty ROM. And I'll be like, why are you doing that? They're like, well, it's accessory work. I'm like, okay, so what does that do? And they're like, it accessorizes. You're like, you're a fucking idiot, sir. But a lot of times they'd be like, well, I'm just trying to get like, I guess, stronger triceps. I'm like, really? You're doing sets of 12. That's how you build strength? They're like, okay, let me walk that back. I'm trying to get bigger triceps. Like, I got you. You know, we've pretty much figured out what good technique looks like for optimal size to keep your joints not from exploding. You do enough joint exploding with your other lifts because you're actually a power lifter or a strongman or whatever. And they're like, okay, yeah. Usually they think about it for a little bit. And I was actually on Table Talk like you guys were with Dave Tate. We walked through this whole process.
Okay.
And Dave was fully in agreement, like, stop ego lifting your accessories, you fucking idiots.
Right.
That's what your main lifts are for.
Right.
And you don't do bad technique on those. So there absolutely is reasoning for modifying your technique, but you got to have some fucking reasoning, not
Right.
just like, yeah, it's just what I do.
Not just because,
Or
no,
not-
I'm a power lifter, so
Right.
I do it this way,
Right.
of course.
Yeah,
you know,
so I can use
yeah.
more weight. Like,
Right.
that's what this exercise, that's what the JM press is for, is to
Right.
use the most weight. Why don't you just close grip bench at that point? They're like,
Right.
all right, I take that back.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That was our one serious question, so thank you for...
Right, on to the next.
Wrap it up. Okay. Now, leading up to, I believe, it was your last bodybuilding show, you had some pretty infamous meals that were posted to your Instagram account during that time, and
Describe them.
a mix of
I think meal is a generous term almost.
Assortment of food.
Yeah,
foods,
right,
foods
right,
that were
like
consumed, I guess I
that
should say.
you randomly set together on a plate is what it looks like.
There's a
in
mix
the
of
terms
protein bars
Yeah.
with tortilla shells. Were those mixed in there too? It was just a collection of foods that I think people don't typically find appealing in a group
Yes.
together. And
Yes.
there was some interesting reactions to those when they were posted online. It appeared
Yes.
too.
Yes. So I can explain. The way I choose my foods is via several variables. The number one is, does the meal meet my macronutrient requirements for that meal? And that's straightforward. And now you can get pretty funky meeting some macros. The next is, are the foods readily available? Another huge funnel of what could be to what is. The other thing, and this is the one that explains a lot, convenience. I'm not trying to cook anything. Fuck that. I'm trying to have foods that are ideally pre-made or require minimal preparation. And yet another funnel, which is a really, really, really big mindfuck, is something termed the food palatability reward hypothesis. It's a very strong
And is
hypothesis.
this a thing you have made, or is this
No,
a
no,
real
I
thing?
can't take credit.
Okay.
This is
I don't know who made it, but Stefan.
say it again.
Gie-
The food palatability.
Food palatability reward hypothesis, FPRH. Stefan Guyenet is an excellent scientist, actual scientist, and he's popularized it. I don't know if he came up with it, but he's definitely popularized it. He's been on the Joe Rogan podcast and stuff like that. It is proposing something that as soon as I tell it to you guys will be like, oh, yeah, fuck, of course, that's got a name. If you eat really tasty foods when you're starving to death, it makes you want to eat more tasty foods and drives you insane. Like having half a slice of pizza on a diet is the fucking stupidest idea in the world. That's a lot of reason why bodybuilders eat like chicken, broccoli, and rice, is because there's only so much of that you're going to want to eat. When you're starving to death, you meet your macros with that. And someone's like, do you want more of that? And you're like, nah, I'm good. And that keeps you sane. It keeps your stress levels down. It keeps you not hungry so you can fall asleep and have a good night's rest. So a lot of these meals I do intentionally with not so great tasting foods that are awkwardly paired, that hit my macros, they're convenient, and they meet the very low end of the FPRH. They're intentionally designed to be very low palatable. The egg wraps that I eat, phenomenal macros. They taste like eating printer paper. And not high quality printer paper.
So what
The shit with the little dots on the other end, you got to pull
like
off
from
that
like
shit.
1992.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
What are the macros on something like that?
So the egg wraps, each egg wrap has 6 grams of protein and roughly 0 fat and 0 carbs.
So how many of those would you eat at a time?
Like 6.
Ooh, yeah. Okay. Six
eating
pieces
it
of paper.
is it's work. You really got to try. and so the protein bars, look, I love Pure Protein, the brand. I have a container of like maybe 90 Pure Protein bars in my kitchen right now. I'm a long-time customer, huge fan. But if you had to rank all the protein bars on sheer taste, nobody ever craving a Pure Protein bar.
Right,
you
right.
feel me? It's like if you take like if airlines provided macro-friendly food, that's what you would get in like economy class, or if you had like a cage in the bottom of the plane for a dog, you would like throw some Pure Protein bars at it. And so I eat those, and I eat the egg wraps, and I have like a diet soda with it, and voila, like that's a meal that I can eat. And at that point when I'm starving to death, it actually is not entirely unpleasant, but it squashes my hunger just enough for me to be able to go to sleep and not try to eat my own eyeballs or something like that. And that is entirely the reason, front to back, why I eat weird foods like that.
So I just want to ask one more question to circle back around on that. So when you're dieting, would you say, in a choice between two foods that might have similar macros, would you intentionally choose ever a less palatable food for that reason then, to fit what you're saying then?
Yes.
Okay.
So it depends on where you are in your diet and how hungry you are.
Right.
Generally you should be able to enjoy your food at least a little bit, but not enjoy it so much that it drives you crazy that you want more.
Okay.
And that applies to essentially almost all phases of the dieting process. Now, on a muscle gain phase, especially if you're trying to bulk and you're not a big eater, you got to eat tastier foods. Otherwise, you're going to get nowhere. You know, like 130-pound kid, like trying to bulk on fucking white rice and broccoli and chicken. Like, you're a fucking idiot, kid. That's going to take you fucking nowhere. So, you know, Sam Sulek, he gets a lot of flack for eating like burritos and stuff. How the fuck you guys? How do you think he got to 260 fucking pounds?
Right. Yes.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, and I like one of the critiques rendered against him is like, man, that stuff's like, it's not what bodybuilders eat. Like, I see. So other than monkey see, monkey do, you fucking idiot, do you have any technical critique?
Right.
Oh, you're in my world now. Oh, you're a food scientist? You a nutritionist? Shut the fuck up. Do trend, nod like a gorilla up and down, and get the fuck out of my face. Don't confuse yourself with a thinking individual. You're going to criticize someone for eating food, you should know things about it. So a lot of times in the bro community, bros will just do bro shit, and if you don't do bro shit, you're evil. It's like wearing like some kind of like a skirt that like cuts sideways in the 1950s. You know, women will be like, oh, how could she?
Yeah.
Like, exactly what's wrong with that? Like, it's just not something we do, and I don't know how to contextualize it. Amazing, Brenda. Thank you so much for your fucking useless opinion. So there's a time to eat tastier foods. Now, you can do it in a healthier way, like food flavorings usually are totally calorie free. Like, have some fucking, you know, the Hispanic peoples have yellow rice. I mean, that fucking just tastes better than white rice. It fucking does. I don't know what's yellow about it, but the macros are roughly the same. Eat that shit, you know? As you get into maintenance dieting, you know, start eating more normal foods. And if you're in a situation where you're at the end of a fat loss phase, yeah, you might have to eat some foods that aren't that tasty, which is when a lot of bodybuilders eat, like, you know, fish and fucking kale and whole grain bread or some shit. And nobody wants to eat that. Like, Kai Green was eating like a pound of fish per meal at some point at the end of his prep. Like, that's a labor of love or hate at that point.
Yeah. A fish market up at his house.
Oh yeah, it must smell quite fishy.
Grapefruit too.
I don't think he was eating it. Motherfucker.
I hope not.
He can't live
What
that
happened to
down.
that grapefruit?
What I want to see is somebody with balls big enough to say that shit to his face.
Oh yeah, I would not say that.
Could
to
you
his face.
imagine?
No, no.
Like, there is a degree of muscular black man beyond which you just don't talk shit to, unless you have like an aimed firearm.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's people are always like, "Oh, fucking grapefruit," am I right? Like, shut the fuck up.
Not to
Also,
his
Kai
face.
Green's loaded. And did
Yeah.
you guys see that video? I didn't, but I was inclined to believe his dick is enormous. I want to see. I want to actually somebody to like get the balls to say to his face, be like, "It's up with that grapefruit," and I want Kai to be like, "Yes, I had sex with a grapefruit for money, and I have an enormous penis," and the guy to just be like, Yeah. And then Kai be like, did you like seeing that video? You fucking word that starts with an F we used to say in the 90s that'll get us canceled now. And then there would be no retort to that.
Yeah. That's fair.
I have that video on repeat on my phone. It's actually my home screen. You know, like the home screen that's a video, it's not a picture. Yeah, it's just always gone.
Yeah, a lot of people have their family, their spouses.
In a sense, that video is my family. Grapefruit, check. Penis, check. It's like mom and dad. And they're having sex, just like mom and dad did, at least once.
This episode is also brought to you by The Strength Co. The Strength Co is something that's, if you've been following the Massenomics podcast, you've probably come to love and expect notes from The Strength Co in here. They make the best iron plates on the market. That's definitive. I'm putting it out there. The best. They're made in America, black E-coated. They look awesome. They're smooth yet easy to grip. They got that machined edge. They wear great over time. They've become the go-to plates of Massenomics Gym. We have a variety of different plate manufacturers, different kinds of plates that we got throughout the gym. Pretty much every one, you can name it. And the best, hands down, by almost every single person that comes in to lift there, they say these Strength Co plates are the best plates I've ever used. And hundreds of lifters at Massenomics Gym can't possibly be wrong. In addition to their iron plates, they've just recently come out with bumper plates. We've got some pairs of those that we're testing currently. They look awesome. They've got that black Strength Co feel and look to them. Also, their collars. They've got kind of a different kind of barbell collar that you might not be used to. You need to check them out. It's thestrength.co. Check out their plates, collars, T-shirts, everything else that they've got there. Thank you, The Strength Co. This episode is also brought to you by our fellow South Dakotans over at Build Fast Formula. Are you sick and tired of supplements that just don't work? You take them, you wait a few minutes, maybe a few hours, and absolutely nothing. Most supplements are underdosed. They contain fillers, proprietary blends, Whole bunch of crap that just confuses an inconvenient truth. They just do not work. Well, maybe it's not your fault you keep missing those PR attempts. Maybe your supplements just suck. Well, speaking of those South Dakotans that build fast formula, they are making high-quality product formulas that contain clinically dosed, research-backed compounds with no unnecessary fillers, so you can build towards your goals faster and finally feel a difference in the gym. I've got their Vaso Blitz right here. This is a fan favorite of Massenomics listeners and their spouses. You can't go wrong with Vaso Blitz. Check it out on their website. That is buildfastformula.com. If you want to save money, which why wouldn't you want to save money when you're there? You can use our discount code. That's Massenomics. It'll save you 10% off on your first order. And you can actually sign up for a subscription for any of the supplements there that you want to. That'll save you an additional 10% off. So you pair it with our discount code, that's 20% off. BuildFastFormula.com. Thank you, BuildFast.
You've got a gym here. We might check it out later. When you're in the gym, I'm curious, what kind of music do you like to listen to? What do you listen to while you're training?
Silence.
Do you?
I get so much shit for it.
That's what I wondered if you what.
But
So
no noise of any. You're just out there in complete silence the entire time.
Almost always, unless it's like a peak workout, like last week, the last half of the last week, especially towards the end of the diet, I'll turn on some music. We have a totally, when we go in there later, you guys can Bluetooth right into the speaker system. Scott, the video guy, is actually a formally trained college graduate audio engineer. So he wired the gym to have cool speakers. And so I'm sitting on a pot of gold I just doing nothing with, because a lot of people would love to train in the gym where they just have total control over the audio and it's a speaker system set up. But to me, music comes in roughly one of two categories. This is maybe the most autistic thing you'll ever hear in real life. Music that I love that makes me feel great, and annoying noise I would rather not hear.
So would you say that annoying noise you'd rather not hear, does that fall into the camp of it all sounds the same to me?
I wish I was that old Nebraska man with a mustache.
that's what we
I
like.
tell you what,
Sounds the same to
man,
me.
this rap music nowadays. Actually, a funny, very related story. Scott, the video guy, and I were at a University of Nevada, Las Vegas soccer game, because my wife was a team physician for UNLV, and she was there, and we got in, and we were able to watch a soccer game. D1 soccer, female soccer. It's pretty dope. They do shit. I'm like, holy shit, like I've got a whole gender advantage here, and I'm gonna be useless on that field. So it was kind of cool, but like the home team, they get to play their like pump up tracks in between, like when the refs are making a call, there's a little break. And I turned to Scott because it was like the most ratchet shit in the world. I'm talking about the N-word, every other word, describing sexual acts that are also criminal at the same time. Like the literal, like how to execute a drug deal described in bullet point order. And we look over and I was like, Scott, how is this playing? And you look at the crowd and it's mostly like parents of the athletes, just like Karens in their 50s. And they're like bebopping. They're like, I love this.
Having fun.
And Scott was like, Mike, listen, I have this problem solved. Past a certain age, you don't understand the words of the hip hop music of the prior generation.
Right.
Like Two Live Crew. You guys know Two Live Crews? I understand everything they're fucking saying.
Right.
You can't play Two Live Crew because all those people in the audience would be like, I know this. You can't play this around children. You know, there's like little brothers and sisters of the soccer girls are there. You can't Two Live Crew. Good God. But like you play some like, I don't know, whatever the fuck, like mumble rap. And like, nobody knows. So I'm definitely a lot of music. I'm just like, I don't care. But I prefer not to know, because the worst is we trained at a gym. They just took a normal commercial gym in Las Vegas for a year when I was there a few years back, and they would have like the same gym track on repeat. It was roughly, I think they maybe banked like an hour and a half of music, and they had the music videos licensed too, so they'd play them on the screens. And like I knew the lyrics to many of these songs, and I was like, God damn it, get the fuck out of my head. And I knew the music videos. I just didn't want to know any of the stuff. And here's the fucking irony. Anytime they play gym music nowadays, in almost any gym that's commercial, I just want to come up to the gym owner and be like, excuse me, look out on your gym floor. He'd be like, yes? What fraction of people are wearing headphones? He'd be like, it seems about 95%. Yeah. Why do we have music on? For the love of fucking God, just turn it off. And if anyone's like, hey, can we get some music in here? Be like, yes. Get your iPod headphones, turn them shits on, and get the fuck out of my face. So, yeah, I have a real love-hate relationship with gym music. So mostly I train to silence. Also, there is a technical reason, maybe not why I do it, but justifiably. I've got stuff to pay attention to. Like when I'm lifting, like I pay attention to the lifting. People are like, how can you do bent rows with no music? I'm like, there's a lot going on. And like, I'm in pain. I have to do good technique while I'm in pain. I have to be a tough guy and try. But I don't need music. Is just a distraction from all that. So
yeah, that's your gym here. In your videos on YouTube, you say some things sometimes that maybe for the listener it's hard to tell. Is this another joke? Is this real?
That's exactly how I like it.
Did you know that? You confuse people sometimes?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's all intentional.
There's one talking about your gym. You made a comment like, the neighbors thought we were putting up a grow house or something like that. Was that a true story?
That's a true story.
Okay, I wondered. That seemed like maybe there was an element of truth.
Yes,
truth to
one of
that.
the neighbors didn't like that we were building a structure, and so they reported us because they told the inspection committee that our house was ostensibly too close to the body of water next to which we were building it, because there's a fucking random regulation. Of course, why not? And so the guy came out and looked at it. He literally did this. The guy, I don't know if I should be saying this on air. Fuck it, who gives a shit. It's not like I'm identifying the guy. He literally walked out and he just like walked across the driveway and he was like, "Yep, you're good." Because it was like an order of magnitude far enough away where he was like, "This is nonsense."
Right.
And he's just like, and my technically I have a landlord. So my landlord, I can explain why.
Okay, yeah, well, that's all right. Yeah.
In any case, my landlord's like, so that's it? And the guy was like, yep. And he was like, so what's up with them like calling for us? And the guy was just like, he just real talked us. He took off his professional hat, like representative of the government hat. And he was like, people just do that. Yeah. And we were like, yeah, makes sense. Yeah. And that was that. And I think they, they also thought like, I think the guy thought like either it's too close or it's a grow house for marijuana, because apparently in this part of Michigan, a lot of people, it's legal to grow marijuana. You have to get a few permits or whatever. Okay. And they were asking like, is this a grow house? And I was like, it's only for growing muscles. And they like didn't know who Arnold was. Crickets. And I was like, it's not marijuana. Yeah. Though I do use marijuana, I'm not trying to grow my own shit. If I got it here.
So go buy it.
Yeah. There's a store.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. We're all married men, but sometimes you give interesting tips and stuff for those that aren't. What do you have, like a couple of really good tips for like the single man trying to pursue someone from the opposite?
Yeah,
we figured we'd
pursue
go
whatever they
right
want
to
pursue.
the source,
yes,
the ladies' man.
The ladies' man. Yes. I am a.
This is an old SNL skit, the ladies' man. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, I consider myself an armchair amateur expert of the pickup arts. Number one tip off the top of my head is learn to masturbate well, because it's a no-fail policy. You go to the club, you're trying to get you some. It doesn't work. You're still winning at home. If you don't know how to take care of yourself, really, what are you doing? You just didn't think it through. A couple other tips. Try to look as pathetic as possible. Men are not sympathetic creatures. Men see weakness as, weakness, and they don't like it. Think about when women see, like, this is even a terrible thought, a bulldog puppy with like a hurt paw.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And they bring that motherfucker right up to their titties. Oh my God, I want to love it forever. And they scratch its belly. Wouldn't that be nice if they did that to you? So if you're at the club, just try to look as pathetic as possible.
Like you just came in right off the street.
Sleeping. Try to limp a little bit. Do one of these, face like pout. Beg. I love to beg, because a real woman knows that a real man is not afraid to beg, but also seem like you're afraid. Because you've been so abused, you just need someone's love to heal all of your wounds. Plus, bitches love a fixer-upper. Am I right? I can change him. Bitch, I got a lot for you to change about me. I got my mistakes have mistakes. My problems have problems. My therapist, I'm a therapist number 5. 4 motherfuckers quit. One of them killed himself just for my stories alone.
Like, no, I cannot take this.
Nope, I'm out. Cash me out, God. That's what he said before he shot himself right in front of me at the office. Blood splattered. Well, you know the rest. You guys have been around suicides before, I'm sure.
Yeah,
in real life,
more than our fair share.
more than I care to admit in
South
public.
Dakota. Things are tough out there.
That's right. Yeah. Like, it's another cold day. Fuck that. I'm out. No, wait, I'll talk to someone close by. JK, there's no one around, and I'm out. So yeah, just try to be as pathetic as possible. Begging is great. Groveling, insulting yourself. Women love it. They can't get enough.
Okay, so is this ebook coming out soon?
It's going to actually be a course. It's a digital.
Of course,
It's
even
like
better.
a book you read,
Yes.
but do you really get a chance to? Because there's quizzes, there's videos. Another really quick story while we're on the subject of nothing. I did a boo-boo, and I was coming off the freeway, and there was a stop sign, and I was making a right turn, T intersection. This was up north in Michigan, where there is nothing and no one, except for one police officer parked 500 meters to my left. And I did a fucking country stop, like we all fucking do. And I 100% checked to make sure it was safe. By the way, there were no cars for forever. And I turned, and he fucking got me. And they were like, hey, like, you can have points on your license. And then I don't care about that. But then my wife was like, hey, idiot, that's more money for insurance. And I'm like, oh, in my Judaism, instantly I'd like a recoil, like, hi, hi. So I am now taking an online driver's training course.
Really?
Yes. And there are embedded videos from, I believe, 1977 or something. And they are magical. I was like, oh, this is such a waste of my time. And then I watched the video and I was like, this is a great use of my time.
Yeah.
And they teach you about proper road safety. And it was one of these where it was like apparently actors I'm supposed to know from that era, but I don't. And they have like a natural interaction. And the guy's like, and you know what? Signaling to turn is really just super important. Isn't that right, Karen? And she's like, that's right, Bob. And you know what else is important? And they have this like conversation so that you can learn how to not be an idiot on the road. And I was just like, wow, someone made this course and someone is proud of making it. And then I just plugged the whole thing into ChatGPT and it just solves all the fucking problems. I'm not taking that fucking test.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I haven't tried that last part, but it probably would work.
Probably, yeah.
I've been getting hundreds in all the tests. I love playing video games on easy. And so I'm like, oh, I have a bit of an intellect. Let me see if I can get 100% on all these questions. And so far, I'm undefeated, and I'm halfway through the course.
Gaming the system, you could say.
Very much so. And also, like, the questions are like, at least two of the options you can rule out as insane. Like, the average car is 1 centimeter long, 9 meters long, 9,000 meters long. What's a car look like?
Renaissance periodization, YouTube's been really kicking some ass lately. What's the secret sauce?
Oh, jeez.
It has been like
Do
really
you guys
kicking
really
ass,
want to
though,
know?
right? Oh yeah. I mean,
Here's how it works. I don't want to talk about this too much because it comes off as like egotistical. And I'm really like, I consider myself maybe in the conversation for the top 3 most humble people of all time.
what an ironic statement. Yeah.
And top 2 most ironic people of all time.
Yeah.
So at RP, we generate a lot of income through the sale of digital products like our hypertrophy app and our diet app. And so we have a lot of money. And this money definitely can curry you favor in society. And so I didn't explicitly bribe anybody to get them to boost us in the algorithm. That did not happen. What did happen was, in the United States is relatively low on the corruption index. That part's actually not a joke. The U.S. is a very not corrupt country by global standards. It's always funny to me, like, people would be like, America's so corrupt. Like, motherfucker, have you ever been out anywhere in the world except for Sweden, you dumb asshole? So what we did was we went over, we paid a significant amount of money as a donation. And I got to a physical meeting with a few of the top people at YouTube. And I was like, fellas, ma'am, I'll just keep this really short and to the point. I have spent over a decade curating my fellatio. And before the lady recoiled, and cunnilingus, though I don't enjoy that specific thing, skills, and I want to tell you that I am prepared to leverage them right very now in order for you guys I don't want anything obvious. Just go in there and just flick the algorithm in our direction. Just a tedious little push. Like when your kid's learning how to ride a bike, they can't start it yet. Just a little scoot.
Send it on its way.
That's all I'm saying. And they were at first skeptical and then completely enthralled at my on the spot, physically demonstrated cunnilingus, mostly fellatio skills. Yeah. And there were 13 people in that office, 27 total orgasms in the short span of 19 minutes. And am I proud of what I did? Yes.
I like to picture you in that scenario as like a Liam Neeson in Taken with a guy, coming in all menacing, telling them you have a very specific set of skills.
Mhm.
And-
They looked afraid. Yeah. Look at me. For the love of God. I've made a joke on one of our other YouTube videos that I look like the breeding of a Ninja Turtle and an M1 Abrams tank. They're like, what happened to that guy's head? And is he okay? And so at first they were really averse to the idea. But one guy was like, it's Friday, right? He's like, fuck it. Pulled his pants down. I mean, it must have taken me 7 total seconds. He passed out. He nutted so hard. And the next guy was like, fuck this, I'm in. And then after that, it's like dominoes. You don't want to be the person talking at the office like, oh, I didn't take him up on it. Everyone else had a good time. It's like a roller coaster. You see the people having fun and you're like, I want that. I want more of that.
It's like a roller coaster. You throw your hands up and have fun.
Oh, and a few of them did. You don't have to do. Listen, you sit down, comfy chair. I know what I'm doing. Many years of practice on so many men. I don't even remember all their faces, let alone their names.
One of the way I like to gauge a creator's YouTube and how people are interacting with them is looking at their YouTube comment section. And you have a very rich and creative group of comments that are typically left on your videos.
That's a way to describe them.
Do you read those comments? Are you looking at those?
We do read most of our comments. Yes.
Okay.
You do get a lot of very funny comments in there. A lot of people are leaving very funny things. Like they're in on the joke 100%.
Comments comedians, we call them.
Yes.
The comments can be, I believe, roughly separated into 3 categories. 1, just regular people using YouTube as if they are speaking to a human being. Mm-hmm. And those people are great. Mm-hmm. I try to answer at least a few questions per video, get in there. And they're awesome. A lot of times they're older folks that just like, they don't know about like Keck and lulls and any of that shit.
Yeah, they haven't been, their brain hasn't been melted by the internet yet.
Then you get another group of folks which are just like irrationally exuberant and just so pumped to be in the comment section. And they're just like maybe having a manic episode. And they're fun to interact with, but you have a feeling like they're definitely extra. Because if you ever look at this, the number of views you get versus comments, it's like 100-to-1 ratio. Most people who see a video don't comment on it. Have you guys ever commented on a YouTube video before?
Just our own.
Just responding.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
So the answer is no.
Yeah,
Most people have just never commented on a YouTube video. So there's a very self-selected group. Most of them are great. There's a small fraction of people that just like woke up and chose violence, And by chose violence, I mean chose a very pathetic way to express their toxicity. And I used to really concern myself with those comments, and they used to weigh on me. In the sense of like, oh man, like I have to respond to all these people and beat them in debates.
Right.
They're saying things that are untrue. Mm-hmm. And also there's a thing, especially when you're on lots of anabolic steroids, you tend to take things as personal affronts much more than any sane person ever should. So a lot of times I'd be like, say that shit to my face, motherfucker. But then I don't know, maybe they're like a very well-trained sniper or neo-Nazi, someone that will kill me.
Like, don't say that to my face.
Maybe don't say that to my face. So at the end of the day, it's like if you've got like bad vibes, we're just like, hey, like, like we all have a rough day. Just don't respond. Mm-hmm. But to everyone else, we respond. And sometimes people, man, they're really devout viewers and they're really in on the jokes. Some of the jokes I'm not even in on.
As much as I love the videos, that is also one of my favorite part of the videos is reading the funny comments in there because someone's always, they're playing off another joke or they got something going deeper there.
Sometimes they'll remember jokes that I said in earlier videos. And because a lot of times we record our videos like months ahead of time because we're workaholics and we always like to stay ahead. Like Scott, the video guy, will never allow ourselves to worry about, do we have a video to release? I mean, that's just like, we just can't do it. It's like not in our nature. So we're always really far ahead. And so sometimes it'd be like, oh, Dr. Mike, you said this one thing. And I'm like, oh, I did? Yeah. And I typically don't watch my own videos because I get enough of my own monologue in my own head. And so sometimes I'll like watch a part of it and be like, oh, so yeah, it's nice as long as people are having fun. And even if they're having a lot of hatred, I encourage it. Go comment on our videos. It helps us in the algorithm. And the Lamborghinis you see, they're not free, but our viewers know that. They need YouTube comments.
One Lambo for every comment.
That would be really intense.
Yeah. So you were telling me a little bit before we recorded, and I want Tanner to hear this now too, along with everyone else. Your production schedule is kind of crazy for how you make your YouTube videos. Like you were saying, or explain that. You sit down, you guys just start banging these things out, don't you?
Yes. Did I tell you about the children we have here living
I've not heard about
against
this.
their
This is new
will?
to me.
Well, that's what that room was.
Oh,
That's where the
that's
shouts
just the
and the
door.
sweet- okay,
That's
yeah.
their whole compound
Yeah.
in there. So typically, the way we've been doing it lately is Scott, the video guy, will come in for 2 days a week, every week. And he comes in typically 1 day in the week. He'll come in the morning. We'll record most of the day. And then he actually will stay in one of our guest rooms. Unbelievably confusing noises emanate from that room at night. Satan is real. That's all I have to say about that. And then in the morning on the next day, we'll record more. And then in the evening, he'll drive back home. And he lives like about an hour away.
And so in that 24-hour window, how many videos are you guys cranking out?
Are we counting the night videos?
We'll put that in a different
the
category.
videos for your YouTube channel.
Yes.
You know,
My mostly fans is
Yeah,
not
right,
in
no.
the discussion here. 10 to 20 videos a pop. And we have other video projects that we'll soon be announcing that we can't talk about now, but we're always banking more videos for later.
So if you had to guess, how many videos are roughly sitting in that bank just ready to go?
We'll call it the spank.
The spank bank,
just
yeah.
for-
Oh, hundreds.
Is there really?
Hundreds.
Yeah,
Really?
absolutely hundreds.
Yeah. That's
Wow,
wild.
That is
Oh,
impressive.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. So when I have there's a process of either myself or Scott, the video guy, will think of video ideas.
That's so who's you both are in charge. That's a responsibility for both.
Yeah,
of you.
so it's
Okay.
like I'll actually tell you. So it's about 95% me, 5% Scott, the video guy. But the quality, relatability, and value of the videos, Scott gets a multiplier of 100, and I get one of 100th. So a lot of my ideas are like, nobody wants to hear about this, you fucking nerd. Go jack off more. Okay. So we have I have one specific place in I use this program called Workflowy, which is incredible. It's a free trial, and then you can upgrade to the real thing. It's like a data organization program, and it has like basically like just lists and sublists and sublists, and so you can organize your entire life on there. And so I have entire lists and sublists of future YouTube videos. And when I get an idea for a good video, I'll type it into my phone, and then later I'll dump it into Workflowy, and then we resort. And I take it from there. I make a PowerPoint out of it, and we go and record the PowerPoints as they become available. And often I'm like, dozens of PowerPoints ahead of schedule. And then we record the PowerPoints, we do production on them, we put them in the bank, and then we only make maybe the 5 videos a week or something like that in the channel. And I typically like to record at least 5 videos, or like to create at least 5 PowerPoints all the time. And then we'll have several month stretches where we actually live together. Like we'll go get a house in Vegas, and we'll record like 5 videos a day every day, or like 30 videos a week roughly for a 1 to 2 month span to get ahead. And that's why sometimes you guys will see on the YouTube channel, we're like in a different studio altogether. And that's the Vegas studio.
So
that
you're
we'll
at
have
like
those.
camp. You're at, it's like
Content
yeah,
camp.
Yeah,
Content
right,
camp.
right.
Yeah. And we like to call it curated content camp, but every single one of those is with a K. Anyone? No one?
It's a very bold,
Is
bold
that,
name.
is that cancelable now? Are we done?
Yeah,
Yes.
That's not what.
Okay.
That,
Well, it's
not
not
good
public
naming.
facing.
Yeah.
And so we record a bunch of videos, and we just have them on 50 different ways to back it up drives. And then Scott does his YouTube magic, where he is the person who has entire control of the release schedule. And so he's the mega coordinator. Like, if Scott the video guy ceased to exist, there would be no more YouTube. He is the YouTube. Me, I'm just some fucking idiot that gabs. He's the real guy. And he will pick which videos to do when. So we have like a ratio of like fucking nerd videos that the fucking nerds like. And
Yep.
I'm a fucking nerd, so I wish they were all like that, but they're not. And then we call them here bangers, like videos like that we know will fuck. They will bang, and they will be popular, and we can record them when we like doing it. But like, it's like a lot of generic shit that people click on, like the best ab workout. And we're like, I don't give a fuck, but fine, I'll say what sports science thinks about that.
Yeah.
And then so he makes sure to sort them such that it's not too much of one thing at any one
So, yeah,
time.
you're getting that shuffle of
Exactly. And then some of the videos that we record go to our members section, because we have 1 to 2 videos every week that come out to our YouTube channel members. And they pay like $5 a month, and they just get extra videos. And the proportion of nerd videos for them is like triple, because they're fucking nerds, because that's why they pay money to hear my dumb ass talk about more technical shit. And then so we have those videos siphoned off, and videos for future. Some videos, we do training videos. So those you can't bank as many of because they require live humans, but they also don't require me making PowerPoints for.
Yeah.
So when we're in Vegas, Mr. Jared Feather, IFB Pro, he'll line up bodybuilders and fitness people for us. We'll get in, we'll film. And then when we're in Vegas, we'll bank a fuckload of those and dope them out through most of the rest of the year. And of course, we have the studio gym at home. So we'll have people come through and we'll do those videos with them. Bank, stack. And then Scott does the strategery, as George W. Bush has described it. And then voila, there's our YouTube.
So one of your themes, recurring video themes that you've had that it looks like has had a lot of success, and I've really enjoyed, is what I would call the Mike reacts to workout.
Oh, they're awesome.
Employee or celebrity, whatever.
Everyone likes them.
And not
Apparently,
only are those hilarious, but what I think is so great about those is you do such a good job of articulating the bullshit factor of all of these workouts. Like you see, I don't know. I'm never going to claim to be an exercise expert. I like going to the gym.
You are in my mind.
I like going, well, thank you. That's the nicest
You're
thing
also
anyone's ever
other
said to
things
me.
in my mind.
Good. Painting quite the picture right now.
Oh, yes.
But
You're naked in those paintings. Titanic, right? That same thing. Yes, we can move on.
Just the way you're able to articulate why these workouts are so dumb. We don't need to be on the Bosu ball doing this exercise, doing this balance thing, when your job is to just be strong and have a strong body.
And like picking apart their terms. I like is, say the celebrity trainer, he says something and you stop and you say, wait a second. And just analyzing what he said, and you're like, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
They just give you the word salad. And
Right.
So thank you so much for the kind words. The YouTube algorithm
also,
agrees.
I think those videos are so accessible to anyone that's even ever done a workout. I mean, if you've gone to high school gym class, you're probably even like, hey, we did that. And why did we do that? That was
Turns
stupid.
out it was no good reason for it.
Right.
Yeah. Whenever you become, and this does sound egotistical, it's true. Whenever you become an expert at anything, like I know some things, I'm not the expert or some shit like that. But whenever you know a lot about a subject, any junior league attempt at it by someone else, you can't help but see the Matrix. Where Neo fucking woke up and he saw all the code. So like if you have like a Navy SEAL watch an action movie with gunfights in it, they're gonna be like, hey, what did you think? You're like, So for example, like I know almost nothing about gunfights and action.
That's the one that always comes up. They're going to be holding a gun. They got to have a really strong upper body.
You're like, what? Have you held a gun before? How heavy do you imagine a gun is? But like typical action scene, like John Wick, for example. If you ask someone who knows like close quarters combat or any combat at all with weapons, be like, what do you think about John Wick? He'd be like, yes. So while he's karate fighting one person, it just takes one outside shooter to just pop his dumb ass. And that's it, he's dead. Mm-hmm. So like if you've been trained or been at war and combat, you can't see those videos anymore and be like, what? It's I have another analogy real quick. So I'm a native Russian speaker. I'm not very good at it. I was left when I was age 7. So I speak like an unintelligent 7-year-old. But when there's someone trying to speak Russian or has a Russian accent in Hollywood, sometimes the accents they get right. But if you're not a native speaker, it's like as soon as you start talking, I can tell. And it's like you can't suspend disbelief. You're like, I can't believe you that you're Russian. I can't see the character. It's like, and the analogy for all of our English speaking, or let's even say American viewers, it's like if someone was like, if you saw a movie in France and it was in French, but there was a guy who was an American, but he was French, and he was like, oui, McDonald's, yes, Corvette car. You're like, that guy's not American. And they're like, just believe person. That he is. Like, I can't. Right. So the same thing applies to exercise science and sports science. When you see people training, you see the Matrix. You guys see it. Like, you watch the Kardashians work out, and you're like, I'm sorry, they said that works the shoulders, but how? You see, gravity only points one way. It's impossible for that to work the shoulders. And so the layers of bullshit are many. Now, we've done a bunch of other videos, and those will be out. We've pre-recorded a shitload of those, surprise. sometimes the celebrity trainers are fucking great.
Yeah, and yes, to their credit, there are some that they're just taking someone through a good old workout.
There's this one dude that was training, I forget who, at like a CrossFit gym, and he was like, we're fucking doing benches, we're doing deads, we're doing pull-ups, and everything's good technique. And I was like, I can't. Okay. It's not even that funny of an episode. Right, so I'm like, this guy's the fucking man.
Like, you just did a good job.
Yes, you should hire this person. But a lot of times it is so layered in bullshit. So when you said like, oh, it's cool that you explain like why it's wrong, like to me, I can't not explain it. It's screaming at me. It's like, tell me what's wrong with this French dude's American accent. You're like, where do I begin? Yeah. I can't not say something. If you told me to just sit through it and shut up, that I couldn't do. So it just comes, and, you know, I don't know, apparently like I'm funnier than I estimated or something. So people are like, oh, you're hilarious or whatever. I think I'm pretty funny in my own head. Yeah. But the things that I think are funny are just like, I'll never say something as a joke that I don't think is at least giggle worthy in my own head. Mm-hmm. And if anyone has any not requested for tips of how to be funny, when you think something's funny, try saying it. But as long as it's not like racist and it'll get you canceled.
Right.
Which like that's half the shit that pops up in my head anyway. I mean, people think I'm hard on my own Judaism. If I really could go off on it, oh my God, so many jokes. The things I'm not allowed to say. So as long as it's not politically incorrect enough to get you canceled, I would say I would never say something to try to get someone to laugh if I didn't think it was at least giggle worthy. And the shit just comes to me. Also, no, I don't write any jokes down. I have no plans. Almost every time when I see those videos, I'm reacting to them for the first time. Right. Because that's the best anyway.
Right. Yes.
It just hits you like a fucking ton of bricks.
There's no incentive for you to not do it that way. You should be,
purely organic. Right. And it's not like I need to fucking focus on the details or some shit. Right. When Dr. Oz is lying to people on camera, it's very blatant why he's lying and how.
Should we jump into overrated, underrated?
I think we should.
Okay. Ooh, I love this part.
Yeah, this is it's why everyone tunes in.
This part.
Yeah, okay. So anyone that doesn't know, we have this little game, overrated, underrated. We're going to fire off some topics here to Dr. Mike, and just his job to decide if they're overrated or underrated. You can use your druthers, elaborate as much, as little as you'd like, but you just can't ride the line. You have to definitively land on one side or the other. So overrated or underrated.
It's a tough game.
Yeah, there's rules. It's overrated, and the topics are hard hitting. So
hard hitting.
Overrated or underrated Lamborghinis.
God damn, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm good at this. I can get this. Yeah. And right from the get-go, it's like, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah, Mike Tyson. Yeah.
You just punched me rhetorically in the face. I think still Lamborghinis are underrated, and I'll tell you why. The Lamborghini compared to other supercars, now I guess they're hypercars or whatever.
Right, yeah.
It's not better. Like, to the trained eye, like some kinds of McLarens are actually just better. They're more roadworthy. Ferrari, like apparently some kind of Ferraris you can't even buy unless you're like a member of the Ferrari buyers club.
You have to have a few others to get on
the
list.
Isn't that crazy? Yep. Can you imagine going to fucking Costco and they're like, you actually can't buy a chicken bake until you eat the pizza.
You have to make sure that you regularly buy hot dogs, and then we'll approve you for the chicken bake.
What nonsense is this? Like, I'm like a pure capitalist in my morality. Be like, I'm sorry, I want to show up to a Ferrari dealership and be like, I understand that, but is there an amount of money I can just pay you that's just so fuck you money that they're like, fine, here's the dealership, you asshole. So there are other cars, two people that know things about cars that make the Lamborghini seem like a gauche choice. Like, oh, really? A Lamborghini is just designed to scream at people that you're rich. And God, do I love that. And my butlers do most of my screaming for me while they're in the Lambos driving them around. I'm never seen in my Lamborghinis because I think it's a little over the top. But God damn does the Lambo sing. I fucking made it. Fuck all of you pores.
Yep.
And I just had an image pop up in my head of me wearing a top hat with a monocle in a pure white suit. Nothing on the suit is
maybe like the long tailcoats on the suit.
Mandatory, looking like a fucking penguin. And
cane, of course.
Cane, boots with heels, even though you're a man, even though you're male. Like, why? Just for the ostentatiousness of it. And I had this idea that I would drive by in a Lamborghini with people on the side of the road, the regulars, the poors, we call them, and the Lambo gets into some mud and splashes them. But then I realized I'm not getting mud on my fucking Lamborghini. That's for another person to do with another more poor person car. So there's levels to this, right? It's the metaphorical splash of wealth. You see a Lambo go, whatever sound it makes. been a long time since I've seen a Lamborghini. And it's just that you know you're worse than that person. You don't even know how. And if there's a hot girl in the seat next to you, oh, you're really closing the loop.
Game over.
Underrated.
Okay, along that same vein, similar vein at least, overrated, underrated butlers.
I have tried to do, I fancy myself a recreational mathematician. I was quite good at math when I was a child, and I tried to run some simulations to get to the optimum number of butlers.
Yeah.
Because it's a function of like, what's your square footage? How many tasks do you have?
Yeah, the Butler algorithm, if you will.
It's deep.
Yeah.
Run some Monte Carlo simulations. The fucking nerds watching this will know what that is. And I realized something, that if you actually adjust all the variables, the optimum number of butlers is an exponent that ends at infinity. You cannot have too many butlers. Why? Because if you have run out of butlers to actually do a function, you can use the remainder of butlers for the ultimate function, which is to do what? You think that rich people care about what your poor ass thinks about anything. They don't. Well, they do to the extent that they can insult you. But they don't care about it much. What rich people really obsess over is, how can I seem rich to my already rich friends? And what is a bigger tail wag than to tell people like, oh, my 87th butler just started work. And let me tell you, the onboarding process is just killing my other butlers, because your boy ain't doing that shit. That's for other butlers to do. The butlers have like a fight club. They have their own pool hall. I don't even know. It's getting out of hand. But is it really? No, I submit that it is not. Because more butlers is better. Because when I'm in my dirigible and I'm having a cocktail party in the white suit with the heels, of course, I like to get butler conversations going. And you know, Elon will be up there. He's like, I've got like 100 butlers. Zuck will be like, oh, I'm on like 200. And I'm like, fellas, I've actually developed, this is a bit much, but I have a room. You haven't seen this room in the house. It leads to, physics-wise, we could call it a portal, I guess. It is a butler generator, and it always has a stock. It's like a black hole of butlers in which an infinite number of butlers exist. And so I kind of won that one. So I'm like, oh, you guys get their 200 butlers. That's a lot. And they're like, oh, Dr. Mike. They'll call me Dr. Mike. How many butlers do you have? And I never like to make a big deal out of it, even though I always make a big deal out of it. And while sucking on my elongated cigarette, because, you know, I don't want my white gloved hand, of course. That separate you from the pores. They put the cigarette right up to their mouth. How uncultured. I like to just briefly describe the butler generator portal. And that really puts, you know, I had actually, at one time, Jeff Bezos sat down and had to have a handkerchief to pat down his sweat, Southern man in a courtroom style, from how he just heart rate. He was like, oh, you have a butler portal? I was like, yeah. And you can't buy that on Amazon either, motherfucker.
Good.
So is that an underrated then?
The most underrated possible commodity is butlers.
Okay. Did you have any must topics in the over-under? Because I've got one to finish on.
Go with what we had on the list, yeah.
Okay, so last one, I really wanted to circle back around to this one more time, just for emphasis. Overrated or underrated, the Costco chicken bake?
Geez, there's a lot of underrateds here. I mean, the Costco chicken bake on macros, I don't care if they're lying. I'll just be straight up. It's amazing. It tastes great. It is mouth-shaped. It is mouth-sized. It is delicious. I've never had one that burned me. I've never had one that wasn't sufficiently hot. The cheesy, whatever those cheesy things are on the crust.
Those are good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll make this a bit algorithmic. If you've had one before, you know they're underrated. If you're in the subcategory of people that have had one before but think they're overrated, I don't care what you have to say about anything. And so they're insanely underrated. Go to Costco, get yourself a chicken bake. I would recommend just one more thing. Sit down. Sit down before you eat it. It's a sensory experience. You're not like, oh yeah, I'm going to like go to do a day at the office and go to amusement park and I'll be on mushrooms the whole time. Like, no. That's not how you do mushrooms. You sit with your friends in nature and you really absorb. That's how you eat a chicken bake. At depth, at scale.
That's good.
That's great.
Do you guys think we can get a sponsorship from Costco?
Hey,
They
we're
actually-
working.
we're well on
They're
our way
all
right
on
now.
the. Yeah,
Please let me
right.
know. They actually issue a cease and desist. You're like, we were trying to help
And,
you.
like, this is all nothing really negative. I mean, some of it obscene, but nothing like.
Much of it obscene. All of it obscene.
Very hard for us to use for any marketing purposes.
I got to.
That's right. We went through your video and we
use this.
can't use
Any
anything.
of it.
Also, that one dude looks like a weird Ninja Turtle. Do you guys know that?
One note: the last time we had you on the podcast via telephone call, you gave us a
Via rotary
yeah,
telephone.
funny. We had a good laugh about that. Subsequently, and maybe in large part because of that,
Just
we,
the cyberbullying. Was
Yeah, the
so
cyberbullying
much.
was so
We had
extreme.
to reevaluate
we
our
now
life decisions.
we shortly after changed that now we have Zoom guests.
Oh my
that
God,
really-
the future.
Yeah, yes,
Yes.
the future is here in South Dakota. So we now,
Guys,
thanks to you,
I'm
you
so
made
proud.
us.
We've made the transition.
Was it like a good transition, or were you
It's
like
actually
No, it
the
really
phone
is
worked
good.
No,
better?
it's actually been really good.
Yeah.
We did it. We're like, we should have done this a long time ago.
could have done it a long time
Yeah.
ago. We'd just been doing it by phone for
Yep.
like 5 years, and we're like,
Yeah.
no,
And look,
it just works. I don't know.
I was joking about
no,
the
we
whole-
know,
okay,
but
great.
it was. It,
Well, we
uh,
know what you really mean.
Oh,
You're
yes.
joking.
It was one of those things where we're like, yeah, it is a joke, but also we probably should be doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
At some
Well,
point
because
in time.
people are like, "Hey, like, we're gonna call you in." You're like, "I'm sorry, call?
Yeah. Well, and
I don't have a landline."
is so
you would be
easy at
surprised
this
though
point in
the
time,
number
it
of
just,
people when we say we'll call you, and that's difficult somehow. So we thought Zoom would be very difficult, and Zoom has not been as
It's a
difficult.
better
as we thought it
interview,
would be.
quite honestly.
Yeah, it's a
anyways,
better-
you know,
it
just
is a
be able
better
to
And you
see
guys do
the-
video,
Yeah,
especially not cutting each other off.
Yes.
Like, you know the face someone makes when they want to say something, so you
Right.
can parlay them in. You
Right.
can't do that on the phone.
Yeah.
And some of the humor stuff via the visual cues is just easier to pick up. Like, I might know if you're making a joke versus is he being serious or is he?
Oh yeah,
You know,
especially with like my deadpan.
Yes, right,
Is this
right.
guy really insane or just a little insane?
right.
Yeah. Was that 3 overrated, underrated
That was
topics?
That was
Did you
just
have the
three.
4th?
No,
or
I
do
was
you
just I just said
have-
three. But if you got 4th,
fourth overrated, underrated. Karaoke.
You guys are just fucking swinging. Holy shit. Karaoke is overrated. And for one, I'll just put on my stinker hat. The people that sing karaoke, as a matter of almost guaranteed rule, do a worse job than the original artist.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
I sing a fucking damn good Lucky Star by Madonna in karaoke. But on a scale of where the worst sound ever to emanate that people use for torture is a 0, and a 10 is Madonna doing it live to you in person at her prime, 1984 Madonna, with all that weird 80s shit on. Oh, yeah.
Pointy boob shirts.
The
and stuff
whole
like that.
fucking
Yeah,
shebang. I would say my rendition ranks at a -1, where I've physically seen people run out of the auditorium bleeding ears. And I'm pretty good at singing, if I may say so myself, and I have, and I will. So karaoke is like, how do you fuck up a classic, you know? Like, it's like, oh, today we're going to paint the Mona Lisa in painting class with 8-year-olds, and they're drunk 8-year-olds. Why? I don't want to see that shit. And you have to look at it because you have to hear the karaoke. Terrible. I hate it. Karaoke is an affront to everything that is American, and I believe it is part of a Japanese plot to subvert our culture and eventually win World War II.
That's good.
It's still go. So World War II isn't over.
Not for the Japanese.
Yeah, okay, right,
Never
right.
ended.
Just to clarify, you're
That's
still
such an
trying to
American
win.
thing to say. Like, I thought we won that war. Woo! Nope.
Okay, yeah, that's great. I would say I want to just mention everyone. Make sure to check out Renaissance.
Do we have a rapid fire section?
Oh yeah,
We'll do-
Go ahead,
we'll
rapid
do-
fire.
Hold on. The rapid fire and the over-under are not the same thing?
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jesus.
the names were different. That
Yeah.
should signify that
Yeah.
they're different.
Fuck.
This is rapid fire general fitness questions. You probably have videos on all of these because you have videos on everything.
Sure.
But we're
How
gonna say,
rapid are we talking?
like actually a quick response here, like probably 10 seconds.
That's a challenge for me.
yeah, actually quick response. Okay, general fitness topics. Should I take a multivitamin?
Yes, it's an insurance policy against missing some meals and fruits and veggies here and there, but it does not replace a whole grain fruit and veggie diet. It just
So I have to
supplements
keep
it.
eating, you're saying? I can't, The
Yes.
vitamin doesn't do it all for me?
It actually takes care of all of your nutritional needs. You don't even need to eat food. You just need to eat a chicken bake.
All right.
Yes.
Very good. For easy math, we'll say I weigh 200 pounds. what is too little protein for my goals?
Being that I don't know your goals at all, apparently they're just to appear incredibly sexy. In which case,
You got
I think
the goal.
mission accomplished. Wrap it up, fellas. Let's go home. I would say anything under 120 grams of protein would strain my imagination as to how you would justify that maximizing your muscularity.
How many of those should I consume through the special egg tortilla roll shell thing that you were eating?
As many as you can get your hands on.
Okay.
What an absurd question. How much money should I pick up off the ground when it's just lying
All
there?
the money. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. We live in the landlocked Midwest, which means we consume almost no fish. We're not at Kai Green's house. We don't have the fish. We don't have a pound of fish available to us a day.
Plenty of grapefruit.
Should I be taking a fish oil supplement?
Fish oil supplements often come rancid, and so if you can ensure that your fish oil supplement is not rancid, it is a wise choice. But apparently it's quite hard to tell, and because you don't bite into the shit, and you're like, oh, this one tastes bad. They all taste bad. So I think Dr. Jen Case are one of our experts at RP for real nutrition, not YouTube nutrition like I do. She's a registered dietitian, has a PhD in nutrition. I think she would say just take an EPA DHA supplement, and that is like all the good stuff of the fish oil without hurting any fish. You see, the way they get the oil out of the fish is terrible. They squeeze it. The fish loves the squeezing. It's sexual to
tickles.
them. So actually, I do support fish oil. Yeah. Ethically sourced fish oil is when the fish love the process.
All right. Someone that's maybe looking to get stronger, what would you consider mandatory supplements for them to take? If there is such a thing as a
Injectable
mandatory
testosterone.
supplement.
Folks, that's a joke. This whole podcast is a joke. It is. Sure it is. A mandatory supplement does not exist.
Okay.
Thank God. That's why they're called supplements. But I would say if you're like trying to be serious, FR as the kids say,
No cap,
I have 0 caps to give, sir. How dare you? Ooh, I learned another one recently from Eric Janecki. Bet.
Yeah.
Do you guys know that one?
No, I don't know. I'm not
It means like yes or something. I agree.
I don't totally know the
Like TikTok.
the context of how you do that.
BET.
Yeah, BET. Yeah.
Okay.
Bet.
Is there anyone here that speaks English? No, but there are plenty of TikTokers. Like, yes, I see.
Okay.
Kind of a whey protein supplement would be nice if you have trouble meeting your daily needs. It's just super, super easy. A multivitamin just to stay nice and healthy. And maybe if you really want to tell mom to go to hell and slam your door in your room behind and play the Sega Genesis, that kind of attitude, you take creatine monohydrate. But when mom finds out, oh boy, you're going to grandma's over the summer. No more weights.
This episode is also brought to you by Texas Power Bars, the best barbells in the game, undisputed champs. You've come to know and love them. Buddy Caps, who started the company, started out on his mission over 40 years ago to build the best barbell, and damn if he didn't just do a kick-ass job doing that. He paved the way back then in late 70s, early 80s, and they haven't stopped progressing and improving since then. Now, their most recent creation is the 29-millimeter power bar. We've got one at Massenomics Gym. You open that thing up, and you think, oh, my God, how could this nerdling be this aggressive? That's how aggressive their power bar is. We've got a gym full of their barbells. We've got multiple power bars, multiple deadlift bars, multiple squat bars in several different finishes. You can get it bare steel if that's what you're into. You can get it in black zinc, a personal favorite of mine. Or they've also got the Cerakote finishes if you want a little pop of color. They also still have their 28.5 millimeter barbell if you prefer that. So they've got a large variety. The best in the business, extremely affordable prices also. Make sure to check them out at texaspowerbars.com. The Massenomics podcast is proudly sponsored by Bearfoot Shoes and the Ursanomics. It's a genetic splicing of suede and canvas, something before hence unseen by the lifting world. It combines the strength, durability, and comfort of suede leather with lightweight and breathable canvas for a shoe that sits at the top of the food chain. It's wide, flat physique offers a stable podium for your powerful paws, while its flexible nature promotes a gait as natural as a bear prowling the Alaskan wilderness. Whether you're establishing dominance in the squat cage or your favorite watering hole, this sneaker lets everyone know you lift heavy and live easy and lift hard. Reserve your pair of Ursanomics now, available for pre-order at barefoot.store. The pre-order is available, but we started with only 250 pairs of these available, and that number is dwindling drastically. Do not wait another second. If you're interested in this shoe, the Massenomics, get on it immediately or else it will be sold out, and there is no intention of bringing that back at this point. So check it out as soon as possible, barefoot.store. The orders on these are expected to ship in October of 2023. And to add some honey to this pot, they got a special discount code which gets you a free pair of awesome wraps with your purchase. Use code MASS when you check out to seal the deal at checkout after adding the awesome wraps to your cart with the shoe purchase. And in case you're wondering what makes the awesome wraps so awesome, it's that they work on ankle, wrist, or elbow. They work pretty much everywhere. As a matter of fact, ankle, wrist, elbow, I'm saying that those things work everywhere. Check it out. The Massenomics. We love this thing. We had a big say in creating this and the way it turned out. Check out the Massenomics and everything else at barefoot.store. Thank you, Barefoot.
All right. I think that. I think
Oh yeah,
that-
one more. I'm just
it keeps going.
Just steamrolling off of past events. Rapid fire. Do you think Will Ferrell is funny?
That's a fucking great question.
Yeah.
I think when Will Ferrell is in his element doing Will Ferrell things, he's the funniest man alive. And I think sometimes when you've had your fill of Will Ferrell, like I've had my fill of my own inner monologue when I was 15 years old, and ever since then it's just been pure misery to live in my brain. Sometimes it's just a bit too much Will Ferrell, and you're like, I just don't get this anymore. And it's just Will Ferrell being Will Ferrell. So when you're in the mood, Will Ferrell slaps like God. And when you're not in the mood, you're like, enough. Enough. He lost me at like Anchorman 6 or whatever.
That's but Anchorman 1.
I also don't like.
Okay.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
I
like
just never really got it.
So
But
what Will Ferrell movies are
his
you-
SNL shit
Okay,
is like Da Vinci doing art in front of you.
Okay.
You can think you're a comic, you can think you're funny. Will Ferrell on SNL, like his impromptu shit, oh my fucking God. Like just doing crazy shit.
Yeah.
The man. Chris Farley, similar idea.
Right.
Okay.
So you have a pretty nuanced answer where, I mean, I think that's a fair nuanced answer to
Yeah.
that question. It's not a black and white answer. Okay.
It sucks. Oh, was the rule black and white answer?
No, not on
rapid fire.
Over, underrated, over.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're safe there.
Thank God.
No, everyone, please make sure to. You're already watching the Renaissance Periodization YouTube, but if you're not, we would just strongly.
What are you
recommend it.
doing?
Yeah, and,
Watch Massenomics podcast or listen to it, I guess.
Either way, whatever you do.
You guys are incredibly handsome. Why aren't you on video?
We are.
Where?
Yeah, we publish these on video also. so
my
yeah,
God.
so they can be consumed over
Time
YouTube.
to BitTorrent.
Yeah.
Do the TikTokers even know what that is?
Probably not.
No.
An illegal form of downloading where you get lots of video at the same time and then you unzip your pants, you get the Kleenex out.
Well, we
and go to
probably
work.
have 350 episodes in full video, averaging a couple
deep
hours
catalog,
piece. You
yeah.
got like
in color.
in living color.
Yes.
Yeah. One other note, we did have a gym member at Massenomics Gym that's been using, he did we put on a powerlifting meet. He had done that. He's using Juggernaut AI to prep for that. And afterward he said, I'm good with
That's a great
powerlifting
app,
for a while.
yeah.
He's been using your new Renaissance periodization hypertrophy.
Ooh.
And
Does he hate it?
no, he actually, just before yesterday or whenever the day I was leaving the gym, grabbing the last couple things, he said, make sure to tell Dr. Mike how much I'm loving the training.
And this is a guy that's trained 5 days a week for probably the last 20 years.
And he said, and he's like, even made the comment, I was like kind of nervous as someone that maybe does powerlifting, quote unquote, a lot, that, I don't want to lose more strength than I have to. And he just made the comment.
That's a fun way to put it.
Right. Yeah. And he just made the comment that like, that's not the case at all. Like, I feel like I am maintaining so much strength while doing it. And he just said he really likes it. He said it's freaking hard. He's like training hard while he's doing it, but
It'd suck if he was like, this is easy.
Right, yeah, that's
is that good or not? I can't tell.
So
a diet being easy is great.
Yeah.
Training being easy, I'm not so sure.
So his one anecdotal experience, he said he's really, really enjoying it.
And for me, that's enough.
Yeah.
Tell him I said hello.
Big Ross. Yeah, we'll say Big Ross.
Big Ross, you're
Yeah.
the fucking man. Don't get too much bigger, or else they'll have to upgrade your nickname to biggest
Giant
Ross.
yeah,
Giant
right,
Ross.
Right.
It's awesome. We do get quite a few. Money's cool to make, and it's
Right.
dope making money. But there are very few, perhaps no replacements for knowing that something you created or helped to create genuinely helps someone have a good time. And so a lot of people have said about the hypertrophy app, they're like, I just fucking love training with it. And it's also cool when you agree with them, because I train with it now. I don't train without my app. And I'm like, what did I do before this app? I wrote things down in my Apple Notes pad. Fuck that. It's just it's a huge green check mark for me in my life to be able to have contributed to making that product. It's just the elegance of it. I just love it. And so and outside of looking at adult pictures and videos between sets on my phone, I look at the app and I just marvel.
Sounds like a great training session.
Yeah. Well, we have a whole Wi-Fi extender just for the throughput.
That's good.
Okay. And I think on that note, we'll close it out. Anything else, Tommy, from you? Dr. Mike, you're good? Well, all right, we'll close it out. We'll catch everyone back when we're back in South Dakota. Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Thanks for having me on, guys.